Essential drugs, now lot of essential drugs are government is making available in the corporation hospital, mainly in urban area, but rural still we need to improve, and these medicines should be available at the sub-center level. Occupational health and mental health is much more far, because still we are talking about the primary health care and curative care. So, and if we want to address the issues of the informal sector, then they are quite linked with the work. So occupational health, mental health must be a part of it. Maternity benefit, just there are some criteria that they should be immunized and then quarterly releasing the amount. So it making the complex. And in Food Security Act already suggested that 6,000 rupees should be paid to the pregnant women. And it's not that much enough, but at least let's start and make it more easy to access it. Also, we need to increase the investment in the health. We need to increase the investment up to 2 to 2.5%. So we can do more investment in doctors and nurses, and not only the doctors and nurses, because in remote area, maybe doctors and nurses are not ready to go. We need to improve the infrastructure, but till that time, we can't tell our members go to the district to get the secondary or tertiary treatment. We can develop the course, design the course. Thereby, we can just train the people like a barefoot doctor or just to take care of the primary health care, and much more investment is required to create a cadre at the village level, at the grassroots level. In insurance, insurance, a lot of we have discussed, but in our experience, we learned that we need to do the investment in the awareness. Awareness is quite important, and yes, we have outsourced. Means insurance companies is doing the awareness, but they have their business interest. So there is a role of the people's organization to create the awareness for the insurance. And one window service is more preferable for the women. They want the bundling. For the life, they have to go there. For the health, they have to approach there. They need the life and non-life component in the same premium. And these are some essential elements which we need to address, that if we want to reach to the last mile or the women from the informal sector, then integrated holistic approach is required. Not only in the, just health can't help them. They require the livelihood, also child care, and decentralized approach in the implementation. Some of our experience is that if there is a change in the biometric, then they have to go to the district office. So it's really difficult for them to go there and to make the change, and it's not that much welcoming that people are telling, welcome, welcome, we'll do the change within a minute. It is taking number of weeks and number of months. And two-way data flow, lot of data we are gathering from the grassroots. If we want to make the people accountable, then data should go to the village level so they can take the ownership of the things which is going on in their village. Maternity means mortality and all these things we are discussing at some platform. Let's discuss it at the village level. And role of the people organization, we have a lot of examples we can talk. If you are interested, that Seva also running the medical store, and first in the Gujarat we started the generic rational therapy, and today government is giving running the Jan Aushadhi stores with the private partnership. Focal point Seva Shakti Kendra we are running, whereby workers are coming, we are helping them with the registration, identity, and accessing the government scheme. Simple intervention, nothing is required, and most of Seva Shakti Kendra we are running in the Panchayat office, and they are so happy that, oh, you are doing our work. Transition also means, because sometimes if we are talking about the entrepreneurship, then it is more about the privatization. So it's not only the exclusive privatization or right-based approach will work. We need the dual approach. And at least these are the things which we need to address: basic income and social protection for all, and some specific program like childcare at the workplace or insurance designing for the specific group. Partnership is essential. Here I would like to draw the attention. Partnership, which doesn't mean only the public or private or individual, people's organization. It is quite important because without organizing the informal sector, you can't address the issues of the informal sector. And along with all these things, government should have the say, means redressal and monitoring mechanism should be set up by the government. And for the people organization, we need to look at the some legal environment, because we have the multi-state insurance cooperative and workers to whom we are working. Only 30 crore investment is required, but as per laws, we need to do the investment of 100 crores. So this type of the environment, even our health cooperative is paying 30% income tax, even though the cooperative is formed from the worker and working for the informal sector. And just, I would like to conclude to say that at least worker facilitation center, some focal point is required, whereby means one window service people can get from it. And capacity building, much more investment at the grassroots level, and also people's organization. Let's think about the people's organization and combination of the public, people, enterprises, and private. Thank you.
Thank you, Mittal sir. Now I'll request Mr. Marcus Rucker to take up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it is great pleasure that I'm taking the floor to represent the ILO Decent Work Technical Support Team for South Asia based in New Delhi. I would also like to thank the organizers for inviting the ILO to this important national consultation. As the inaugural session has emphasized to a great extent the importance of the interconnectedness of the SDGs for poverty reduction, I would like to talk about social protection in the SDGs, their goals and targets, recognizing that social protection contributes not only to the SDG 1, but also to other SDGs. So obviously the first SDG which relates to social security is goal number 1, no poverty, and poverty in all its forms everywhere. That's what we're here to discuss. The relevant target for social protection is target 1.3, and it reads, and I quote, implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including floors, and by 2030 achieve substantial coverage of the poor and the vulnerable, end of quote. Let's ask the question, why does this matter? Social security systems providing social transfers are instruments to alleviate and prevent poverty, which work directly and fast in a way that the alleged benefits of trickle-down effects of economic growth cannot match. The empirical and statistical evidence of the last decade shows clearly that economic growth does not automatically reduce poverty, and without putting employment promotion and income redistribution mechanisms such as social protection in place, otherwise countries with the same levels of GDP per capita would not experience a wide range of different levels of poverty and inequality. And one would not see persistently high levels of poverty in some countries with relatively high levels of GDP per capita. Social protection expenditure has a prominent role in reducing and preventing poverty, containing inequality, and addressing social exclusion. Particularly crucial is its capacity to ensure that people can escape poverty for good. The risk of falling back into poverty is very high where effective social protection mechanisms do not exist. Social protection is essential in addressing not only monetary poverty, but also social exclusion. Indeed, social protection constitutes one of the essential channels through which governments can distribute and redistribute income and resources and share the benefits of growth, reinforcing the democratic mandates granted on them by the election to fulfill their societal expectations. The key role of social protection in inclusive growth is now widely recognized. It is therefore not surprising that higher levels of social protection expenditure are associated with lower levels of poverty. Social protection is also important for achieving goal number 3 on good health and well-being. The relevant target is 3.8. It reads, and I quote, achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential health care services, and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all, end of quote. This is important because insufficient health coverage causes long-term problems for societies, hampering vital employment and productivity returns. Some 90% of the population in low-income countries remains without legal health coverage, that is, that they are not affiliated to any health schemes or systems. Out-of-pocket payments, the most regressive form of health financing, constitute 40% of health expenditure worldwide. Moreover, 10.3 million health workers are lacking globally, 7 million of whom are missing in rural areas. When people are sick, the lack of rights and entitlements to healthcare, as well as inadequate access to quality services that are available and affordable, pushes them into poverty. The negative consequences of insufficient access to healthcare services are far-ranging and can even be contributing factors to child labor, as families are forced to compensate for income losses. SDG 3 thus calls for universal health coverage. Also, Goal 5 is important for social protection. Target 5.4 reads, recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure and social protection policies, and the promotion of shared responsibility within the household and the family as nationally appropriate, end of quote. Why does this matter? Discrimination and lack of quality public services provisions undermines the social contract of societies. The unequal sharing of care responsibilities results in a situation where unpaid care and domestic work are disproportionately shouldered by women and are not valued and protected to the same extent as other forms of work. The situation hinders women's access to decent employment and social protection. Income security and access to basic services such as nutrition, education and healthcare are therefore important elements to take into account towards achieving SDG 5 on gender equality and women's empowerment. Goal 8 is very important for the ILO in general, and it is about decent work and economic growth. Target 8.5 stipulates that by 2030 achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men, including for young people and persons with disabilities, and equal pay for work of equal value, end of quote. This is important because inadequate social protection systems tend to weaken full and productive employment and decent work outcomes, including for youth. Social protection is one of the pillars of the ILO's decent work agenda, which became an integral element of SDG 8 and an important prerequisite for all women and men to be able to gain and uphold productivity, human capital and household income. In the event of unemployment, sickness, maternity, injury or disability, people are even more at risk of poverty if they have no access to social protection coverage, and this reduces the potential for national consumption and growth. Goal number 10 on reduced inequality is the last goal I would like to discuss here. Target 10.4 is formulated as such, and I quote, adopt policies, especially fiscal, wage and social protection policies, and progressively achieve greater equality, end of quote. Again, the question, why does this matter? This matters because social protection reduces income inequality. Rising inequality is an obstacle to social peace, political stability and social cohesion. It also presents a risk to sustainable economic growth. Access to social protection transfers and services, in particular for vulnerable groups, constitutes to making societies more equitable. Social protection systems are one of the elements which provide for a more equitable distribution of resources and contribute to more inclusive growth, and are therefore included in SDG number 10. And on this note, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I'm sorry for rushing through this, but I was, with no uncertain terms, giving to understand that please. I have to be very fast.
Thank you, Marcus. Now I'll request Ms. Hake.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to also thank having opportunity to also share some discussion points on the social protection from children's perspective. First, I have 4 points actually here. Very quickly, I will discuss in the next 7 to 8 minutes. The first one is 5 minutes, okay. How is we link that the child rights intersect, the social protection intersect with different child rights in the SDGs, And also we like to just touch upon the role of social protection, reduction of the poverty, especially children living in poverty. And also that how the social protection can play a role to address the child-specific vulnerability, exactly that Professor Kun mentioned already. Then a few options for India to consider. We see that the SDG principle really prioritize all the fundamental principle of our Convention of Rights of the Child, which is survival, development, protection, and participation. And also it defined the accountability of the nation, the country, to children from ensuring financing and also implementing that effectively the program commitment for children. Now, I just want to cite that, that India has a number of steps taken already. We heard so many speakers, the available programs and social protection schemes, and has a very strong legal framework, and the plethora for the scheme for children. That being said, we know that India also faced a very challenging situation because the children have the vulnerability is actually varied with their age, the social class, economic